Yo guys, welcome back to another video. As you guys can see, I'm looking a little different here. I had to shave it off. I messed up the lineup and I figured, you know what, let's just start from square one. Damn. You hate to see it, but I have at the very least rocked the mustache for like the last couple of years, so I have not been clean shaven in a long time, so I look like a completely different person. Anyways, besides the point, you guys can see I'm obviously back home in my normal setup. I'm back in Florida for the week, and I figured I'd make a couple of videos, at least start some while I'm down here, because a lot of the books that I did pick up this summer, I'm dropping off down here before I go back. So, anyways, doing the July wrap up right now. Talking about what's going on the rest of the month, what I've read, what I've yet to read, going into next month, just some reading plans, what I plan on doing, channel life updates, as well as at least the first part of the haul. I think when I do get back to Virginia, I still have one more Second and Charles visit left in me for the summer. We'll see what happens, but I at least wanted to film the stuff for the haul that I'm going to be leaving down here in Florida, because I won't have access to it for a couple months. And then, if I do end up going to Second and Charles again, then you guys will see that, and it'll be like a cut-in kind of deal. But yeah, if not, it'll be in the August video. So yeah, what all I've got going on, what I've read, what I'm going to read next month, or what I plan to read, rather, all that wrap-up stuff that we do every month here. So, without further ado, let's get into it. If you guys do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, because I would greatly appreciate it. And, yeah, all the links are going to be in the description, so let's do this. So we're going to start off with the book haul here, and like I said, if I do get pick up anything else when I do go back, you guys will see it here in just a minute, but if not, this is what I ended up getting. Move my water over here. So if you guys don't know, been going hard with the Warhammer books recently. Been getting into that. I did a video talking about Warhammer, which ended up being, it kind of exploded in terms of the channel. I mean, it didn't get thousands of views, but it got a couple hundred views, which for this channel is actually super good. It was sitting in my top 3 most popular videos for a good minute, and I think where it is now as of recording this, it has overtaken number 1, so it is now my most popular video. So thank you all for checking that one out. That one had at least some bit of traction, which is super cool. So if any of the Warhammer fans out there who are new to the channel, thank you. Yeah, anyways, that being said, I did pick up some Warhammer books, so let's check out what we got here. Last month, I did have the first 4 books in the series. For the Horus Heresy, I did have a few in the Siege of Terra, and basically what I did was I completed my set of what I really wanted. There's definitely some Horus Heresy books out there that I've yet to get, that I'm gonna end up wanting to get to, but the ones that I have now are sort of like the main ones that I wanted. But yeah, there's definitely a lot more that I'm missing out on, but these are sort of the necessities that I did get. So I did end up getting a copy of book 5, Fulgrim, and this one seems to be pretty long for a Horus Heresy book. It comes in at about 500 pages or so, as opposed to the typical 400. So this is a bit of a chunky boy for a Horus Heresy book. And then I did get Descent of Angels. If you guys don't know, I talked about it in my last video, but I'm super interested in the Dark Angels and Lionel Johnson. They're my favorite chapter of the Astartes or the Imperium or whatever. They're my favorites, and I wanted to know more about them. So did get Descent of Angels as well as Fallen Angels. So that's books 5, 6, and then I believe number 11 and Fallen Angels is the direct follow-up sequel to, or Fallen Angels is the direct follow-up to Descent of Angels. And I think there's one more in that little series, which is the Angels of Caliban, which to my knowledge is kind of hard to find and kind of expensive, so I would get it, but not trying to spend $100 on a used paperback. Moving forward into the Siege of Terra, I did kind of complete my set here. So starting us off, I did end up finding this trade paperback of Saturnine, which is book 4. Saturnine is a book 4, and I got it in this trade paperback. So, I mean, the trade paperbacks are rarer than the normal, or like the little mass markets. But it does make my set look kind of weird, which I'm not a big fan of, but it is what it is. I'm not being too picky with these. If the mass market comes back in stock, I might consider getting it. It's only $10 and it'll make my collection look a little cleaner, but at the same time, it's 10 more bucks that I don't need to spend because I already have the book. Whatever. Why would I opt to buy a mass market over the trade paperback? I don't know. It's just super picky. I'm rambling. So I did get book 4 because I did get the first 3 when I was out at the Warhammer store last month. So I got book 4 here. I did get book 5, which is Mortis. Got book 6, which is Warhawk. Book 7, which is Echoes of Eternity. And then moving into the final 3 books of the series, which are the End in the Death. Currently, book 1 or volume 1 of End in the Death is out of stock. I think the trade paperback of that is out of print currently, but they are coming out with the little mass market of it in September, so I do actually have that one pre-ordered. But sadly, I'm not able to get my hands on the first End of the Death, which is book 8. I did, however, order End in the Death volume 2, which is technically book 9, even though it says book 8, because it's like one book, but split into 3 volumes. So yeah, I have the first book pre-ordered for September in the little mass markets, and then I'll probably end up getting that final book for my birthday because it does release in trade paperback in October. So yeah, that kind of wraps up my little Warhammer haul here. It's pretty big, so yeah, definitely going hard in the Warhammer stuff. As of recording this video, I finished the first 2 of the Horus Rising and really liked them, or not Horus Rising, but the Horus Heresy. Really enjoyed those, and I'll talk more about my plans with the 3rd book here in just a minute. But we do have a little bit more left of this haul. The next thing, I got a nice little bundle on eBay. It was like $20, and that is Janie Wirtz. I did get the first 3 books in the Wars of Light and Shadow. I'm looking forward to reading this series at the beginning of the year in 2025. Andrew's Wizardly Reads, my boy, and John over at Talking Story, they are doing a panel discussion where they're going to be doing a read-along thing. Sadly, I'm not making it to the panel, being a part of it, but I am going to be reading it along with them and sitting with you guys, reading it, and hopefully discussing it in the comments or on Discord, hanging out, be a part of that. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure they're going to be doing live streams and stuff. And I did want to get in on that and read it along with everybody else, because I've never done a buddy read along kind of thing before. So yeah, I mean, it's at the beginning of the year, the perfect time to jump into a new series with everybody. And it just seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know a whole lot about this series, but I've heard pretty good things. I've heard that it is a little bit harder to read. It's not an easy read, but yeah, I'm up for the challenge. I talked about, Gene Wolfe and like Malazan and stuff last month about, stepping my game up, reading some little bit more challenging books. And to my knowledge, this is no exception. So yeah, this looks really cool though. I got these little mass market paperbacks, just because, I'm unfamiliar with the series and I wasn't about to drop, $30 on the hardcover just yet. So did get that. The second book here, Warhost of Vastmark, and the third, actually I think this is the third book. I think this is the second book, which is The Ships of Merrier. So yeah, I do like that cover art. A little bit of a bard kind of character, and that does look like that is our main character. He's on all the covers. So that's pretty cool. And then also with that little bundle I got, it did come with the Master of White Storm, which isn't connected to this world, I don't think. It's a standalone. It very well might be in this world. I'm unsure, or if it's just a complete standalone. But yeah, I know that this is a standalone novel, but as far as like what world it takes place in, I don't know if there's continuity with her Wars of Light and Shadow or not. But it did come with this, which isn't something I was particularly looking for. But the 4 books for $20, couldn't pass it up. So I do have that. And then, speaking of Jenny Wirtz, I did get Magician's Apprentice by Raymond E. Feist. Of course, Jenny Wirtz worked with Raymond E. Feist on this Greater Rift War saga or cycle. I forget what exactly, because I know that there's like the name of this trilogy, but then there's also the name of like the Greater series. And she helped work on certain entries, but I did get this. I believe this is the first book, so I am really interested in reading this, and I do want to probably get to this fall. It just, I don't know, for some reason seems like a bit of an autumn read. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. That's The Magician's Apprentice. A couple more things here. We've got Blade Runner, or Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. Don't really know why I got this. It was a bit of an impulse buy, but I'm really interested in Blade Runner and like cyberpunk stuff, and this is sort of the, grandfather of cyberpunk. So really interested in it, checking it out. I've heard pretty good things. It's a short read. So yeah, I don't really know what else. This definitely was a bit of an impulse buy, but it was really cheap. So yeah, there's that. I don't know when I'm going to check that out, but hopefully soon, because like I said, it is a really short read. Alright, and so the last little thing I've got for this section of the haul, again, if I do end up getting any more stuff, it'll be like a cut-in. But last thing for now is something I'm super excited for, and that is Lord of a Shattered Land by Howard Andrew Jones. Yeah, I got it right. Really excited for this. My boy Andrew over at Andrew's Wizardly Reads, the wizard himself, has been raving about this book since he read it. I'm very excited to hop into this here very soon. Hopefully here in August. That'll be something I get to. Again, I'll talk a bit more about my reading plans for August once I get to that section of the video. But this was kindly gifted to me by Kayla. You guys know Kayla, my wonderful girlfriend. So yeah, really awesome. And as soon as I brought it home here, I did wrap it in the Mylar wrap. So yeah, very excited for this. And I believe the second book in this trilogy is already out, and the third book does come out in October. So who knows whether or not I'm going to get to those in time for the release of the third book. But I definitely want to read this first one here very soon. So that is all I have for now. Let's go ahead and talk about what I read so far in the month of July, as well as what I plan to read in the month of August. Alright, so starting this off with the things that I've read in July, we have The Lesser Devil by Christopher Ruocchio. This is the novella Sun Eater book 1.5 that takes place during the events of the first book, Empire of Silence, but from another perspective. Yeah, technically I started this book at the end of June, but I read it into July, and that's when I finished it. It was probably featured in last month's wrap-up, but I don't think I was finished with it then. I could have finished it by then, I don't remember, but I finished it at the beginning of July, so I'm going to talk about it. Enjoyed this quite a bit. There was parts of it that I did like more than Empire of Silence. There's parts of it that I didn't like as much as in Empire of Silence. So I think that it's a really good read. You probably don't need to read it, if I had to guess. I don't know how much stay this has in the overall series, or if Crispin ever makes a return. I don't know, but you know, I mean, it's pretty self-contained from what I can tell. But if you liked the idea of Empire of Silence, but felt that it was lacking in some areas, and were left a little disappointed, I would recommend reading this, because I feel like this makes up for a lot that was lacking in Empire of Silence. I feel like they're two halves of the same coin, and they complement each other. There's things in Empire of Silence that were done well, that I liked a lot, that weren't done as well in this, that I wish were in this. And there's parts that were done amazingly in this novella that I wish, could be said the same about the first book in this series. So, they're both lacking in some way, but they both have a lot of cool, aspects to them that I liked a lot, which is kind of why I gave it a 4 stars. I think that's what I gave it. It was a 4 something. But yeah, Lesser Devil. I don't think it's like a must read, but if you're a fan of Sun Eater, I wouldn't want to miss out on that one. So yeah, there's that. Moving on, I did start reading Warhammer, as I said, the Horus Heresy. Did read Horus Rising, which is the first book. Really enjoyed it. I talked about this in a review for Warhammer, or just talking about Warhammer in general, from, me just getting into it and getting into the franchise. I also did a review. Part of that video was a review of this first book. Really enjoyed it. I think the Astartes and the Primarchs are super cool. I like, at first I was a little bit iffy on the Remembrancers, because I wasn't really interested in them. I was really just here for the Primarchs and the Astartes, Space Marines and stuff. But the Remembrancers end up being pretty cool. I think a highlight in this first book, as far as the Remembrancers, are, Ignis Carcassi. I really liked him. And I also really liked the relationship between Olatin and Loken. And Loken is badass. One of my favorite characters I've read in a minute. He's just super cool. Very by-the-book character. But for the right reasons, especially knowing how much corruption and degradation and everything that's about to happen, that's something that can be appreciated. Really like the brotherhood aspect of this first book as well. How Horus is treated, how he acts, the relationship between the Mournvale is really cool. So yeah, there's a lot to love about this first book. And then just the other day, I did finish False Gods, which is book 2, the direct follow-up to Horus Rising. And this one I did still like a lot, but I felt like it was a little bit rockier. The characters start to get, there's a lot more tension, like interpersonal, intercharacter tension, that, makes sense, but because there's so much tension between characters, the aspect of the brotherhood that I liked so much about the first book isn't as prevalent, because everybody's kind of at each other's throats. Everybody's their temper is a little bit volatile. I can't speak. So, you don't get as much of that. But there were some really cool moments, really cool characters. It's also one thing I like about the Black Library so far is that although it's different authors writing all the books, there are returning authors. Not each book is written by a different author, but there are various authors that write the books in the Black Library. And if I didn't know any better, I would say that it's the same dude writing them all. So, it's not that much of a difference. But what I will say is I think Dan Abnett, who wrote the first book, I like his writing style a little bit more. Again, it's pretty uniform. Yeah, I could, if I didn't know any better, I wouldn't have even been able to tell. But maybe it's just because I liked the first book more in general. I don't know if that's necessarily reflective of the writing style, but I just felt like I connected with it a little bit more in the first book. That's no discredit to Graham McNeil, but yeah, I just liked that first book more, and I think the writing was maybe slightly better. But that's definitely a very, personal thing, a personal nitpick, I guess. So I did end up giving False Gods a solid 4 stars. I think that's what I gave it, if 4, maybe 4.25. I'm not sure, something like that. But yeah, both of these books were really cool. Really enjoyed them. I think, I said 4.5 for this, and then 4 for this, I believe. So, really awesome reads. I'm loving the franchise, and I can't wait to read the 3rd book in the series, which is the final book in this little saga here, where we follow Loken and the gang. So, and it's going to be like the climax of, those characters leading into the Horus Heresy. So that's basically, these first 3 books are just the kickoff. So, really, really excited to check that out. July was a pretty good reading month. I didn't read a bunch of big books. I took a break from Oathbringer to check out some other stuff, which I think was definitely well needed. I absolutely flew through these books. I read like 1 a week, pretty much. So, for 2 weeks of reading the Horus Heresy, I've read 2 books. So, basically one a week. Really enjoyed those, and I definitely plan on reading way more of them. Moving on into my plans for next month, August. The first thing I think I want to read is, in fact, Galaxy in Flames. It's the 3rd book in the Horus Heresy, and I'm not really reading anything at the moment because I'm back home. I'm on a little bit of a vacation, but when I get back to Virginia and I get back in the swing of things, going back to work and all that, because, it's a whole thing. I'm not really reading right now. I just got stuff to do, while I'm down here. But I plan on picking this up. I was afraid I'd get a little bit burnt out, but, you know, with this little vacation I've got going, I doubt it would be that big of a deal. So, Galaxy in Flames, Book 3, finish that off and hopefully do a review of the first 3 books together, talk about that story, these characters, more in depth. Want to do that. Let me see. So, I have a few books set aside here, and really this is for like the rest of the summer, which I guess August is the rest of the summer, but reading plans, I guess, for August to going into September as well. Oathbringer, I really need to get back to it. I've heard that the first, 40%, which is basically where I'm at, the first half, is a little slow. But a lot of people insist that they love this Stormlight book, and it's not that I'm not enjoying it whatsoever, it's just slow. And there's no reason why this book needs to be as long as it is. There's a lot of unnecessary content, in my opinion, that's holding it back for me. For as much as I've read of it so far, I would probably give it 4 stars. It's not my favorite Stormlight book whatsoever yet. But yeah, I need to finish this. So I probably need to get back to this soon. Hopefully next month I'll get back to it if I'm feeling it. If I'm not feeling it, I'm not going to push it. But I at least want to try to get back into it, because I did leave off at part 3 here. Yeah, and I mean, obviously I've heard it gets better. You got the Sanderlanche coming up, so get back to Oathbringer. That's important that I do. Again, Lord of a Shattered Land, I definitely want to get to this real soon. Nothing's really set in stone just yet, but I wanted to get together with Andrew, the wizard himself, over here on the channel, and talk about Hanavar, because he loves it. I wanted to, pick his brain on it, just talk to him about it, hang out. So, whether or not that happens, it's in the books for now. We're working some things out, but stay tuned. I'll let you guys know. But yeah, it also depends on when I get to this book, which I hope is very soon. Moving back on to the little bit of a Warhammer train, I did want to check out The Flight of Eisenstein, which is book 4. I didn't want to get to this right away. I know this kind of ties into the 3rd book, because the first half or so of this book, from what my uncle has told me, it kind of coincides with the 3rd book, and it follows like the same timeline, and then the 3rd book ends, but then like the 4th book takes it further, sort of shows what happens a little bit after the end of the 3rd book from a different perspective. So this kind of directly ties into them. I want to read this because it has a fan favorite character, Garrow, and just everything I've heard about it is really cool. But at the same time, I'm kind of just wanting to stick with those first 3 books for now, not burn myself out, and then get to this at a later date. But I do have it set aside to read this summer. So if I need a little bit of a palate cleanser, something that I can read in a week, I have this set aside here as well. So hopefully I get to that in September or something. But another big thing that I wanted to get to is Howling Dark by Christopher Ruocchio. I have very high hopes for this book. I've heard great things. So this is a lot of people's favorite book in the series. And I've always loved the cover. When I first saw this cover, what's that? Oh, that's my boy Eli, his graduation picture. I didn't realize that was in my book. Huh. Anyway, I guess I used it as a bookmark or something. That's my boy. Anyway, what was I even saying? Oh, when I first saw this cover, coming up on a couple years ago now, that's what made me want to read Sun Eater. It was this cover. Not sure the context, but it's super dope. Yeah, I'm hoping that the second book also fixes a lot of the issues that I've had with the series so far. Again, like I said, I liked a lot of the first book, but it also left me wanting, and it was a little disappointing, which, again, I've heard is the worst book in the series. So, I have high hopes moving forward, but this is one that I really want to get to this summer. Whether or not I finish it this summer or not and read this into like October or something, it very well could be the case. But yeah, that's what I've got going on for reading in the next couple of months. I'll show you guys this. This is my stack for August, and I suppose moving into September as well. So yeah, that's basically it. As far as any other channel life updates, I'm going to a concert tomorrow, hopefully, seeing Lamb of God as well as Mastodon, which are two of my favorite bands. They're on tour together celebrating the 20th anniversary of Lamb of God's album Ashes of the Wake, as well as Mastodon's Leviathan, which are my favorite albums of those respective bands, which is super dope. Yeah, that's kind of like a once in a lifetime kind of show. So I'm very excited. Got a good friend of mine coming with us to go see it tomorrow as well. So yeah, it's gonna be me, my dad, my uncle, my brother, and then a good friend of mine. So it's gonna be a dope show. I'm hoping, making sure nothing goes wrong. Hopefully we're able to make it. We got the tickets and all that, so I'm super pumped. And like I said, I'm heading back to Virginia on Wednesday, so I'll be back over there. And from there, I mean, this was the main thing this summer that I had going on to look forward to. The rest of the summer, as far as I'm aware, is just working and being on that grind until the middle of September, when I come back down here and I have to start getting ready for the big move. But yeah, that's all I've got going on for like channel and life updates. Oh yeah, I guess I should mention too, getting some equipment. I'm investing a little bit into my content. Got a few things like a boom arm. I'm getting a mic and a webcam as well, to hopefully do some panels, some live streams, collabing with some other creators. I have a few creators in mind that I'd want to work with, do some content with. I've reached out to a few. Like I said, I've already talked to Andrew, the Wizard, so we're trying to work something out, see if that happens or not. Hopefully it does. But there's a few others as well, so this content, this channel, I'm trying to put myself out there a little bit more, talk to some other creators, and hopefully get more in depth with the community and all that. I don't really see myself being a big author interview person. I know that's a lot of people. I know of a lot of creators that's like their thing, is they do author interviews, which I would love to do on paper, but I just don't see myself doing that because I'm not the most outgoing person. But we'll see. Yeah, anyways, my point is I'm getting some equipment, getting some things, and figuring out how to do some things, and hopefully by the time I move, increase the quality of my content a little bit. Maybe a podcast with my father and some special guests is on the horizon. We'll see. I do have some big plans moving forward into next year as well that I'm sort of working on. So yeah, anyways, there's just a whole lot going on as far as the channel, but not a lot of it I can do anything about just yet. But some things, the seeds are being planted for some cool shit going on next year and late this year that you guys are just gonna have to wait for, sadly. But yeah, I'm telling you guys now, there's some cool stuff on the horizon that got put into motion this past month. So yeah, that's about it for channel life. You got the book haul. Again, if there was anything else, it'll get thrown in. And yeah, thank you all for watching. Again, thank you all for the huge support I got on that last video. It got a lot of traction in terms of the channel, so that's really cool. And yeah, thank you all. All my links are in the description. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
I know you motherfuckers know this one. Raise your voices and sing it with me, Florida. This is